Hi, so in this video we're going to look at some of the activities that you could put in a StartFinish box and how you could backchain them to make them easier or extend them if you feel that your child is able to concentrate for a little bit longer on that one activity or is getting better at that particular activity. When it comes to putting activities into the box, we would always suggest, if you can, to put the complete activity into a bag. I know it's not always possible, but any type of bag would do, just to keep the contents of whatever the whole activity is. So when they are in the StartFinish box, they're in bags and you're taking one whole activity out. Your child is you're able to take the items out with your child, do the activity, put them back in the bag and then place them into the finished box. So that is the ideal that we would do with StartFinish boxes. If you can't find bags for all your activities, then it doesn't mean you can't do it. You can just put your activities directly into the box and take the items out that you need. We would just always suggest that best practice is to put them into bags. So what sorts of activities have I got down here that I would put in a StartFinish box? Well, some of the activities are going to be geared around what does your child enjoy doing, so I'd make sure there's always at least one really favourite activity in there that they love doing, or at least a couple that they kind of enjoy doing, and maybe one that you're wanting them to work on that they've not really kind of got to grips with. So one favourite that we always find with a lot of our children is the bubbles. So that might be their favourite activity. So if that's in there, I'd be inclined to leave that till last. Do the other activities first and then kind of give them the reward of their favourite activity of bubbles. I've also got in here, if you've got a child that likes lights, I've got a little light up toy that they could have a couple of goes with, looking at the lights. And then you could say that is finished and we put it away in the bag and we put it into the finished box. Another good one is looking at a book. So you'd have a book in there and you might you'd be turning the pages, they might not be turning the pages. You might just want them to attend to the book. It might be that you actually just want them to look at the first picture because they're not really keen on books, so as long as they do the first one, it's finished. Then after they get used to it, you might want them to look at the first 2 or 3 pictures and then it's finished, and then you could build it up to the point where you're looking through the whole book together before the activity is finished. So that's how you can take the activities and extend them. In the first place, we would literally look for a little bit of concentration, perhaps one picture. Oh wow, look at that, it's a red apple. That's finished in the bag and in the box. And then, you know, as I say, extend it to more pages or even to the whole book. So that's a great one for using because you can extend the period of time on that one quite naturally. So they're focusing on that book for longer as they go along. Another great one is puzzles. Now I've got 2 puzzles here. So if they're only just starting out on this, or if their concentration isn't great on a puzzle, you might start with a simple one-piece one that you either want them to put in themselves or you're going to help them hand over hand put that piece in. And then you go, oh wow, the puzzle's finished. In the bag and in the box. Inset puzzles like this with lots of pieces in are great, and it may be that you don't want them to do the whole puzzle because they can't concentrate for the whole puzzle. So you get the puzzle out and you take out perhaps the first 2 pieces and you help them put those 2 pieces back in and the puzzle's done. That's brilliant. And you put it in the bag and you put it in the finished box. And again, it's one that you can build up with more and more pieces coming out of the puzzle that they're expected to put in before that puzzle's completed, and therefore it builds up their concentration. So the back chaining that I talked about, that is where you take out something and it's almost complete. So you might even complete it if all the puzzle pieces are out. You might put all the pieces in, but that last one you leave for them to do, and then they complete it with that last one piece. So you're making sure the majority of it's done and all they're doing is just finishing off that last little bit until they're capable of finishing off the last 2. And it may even be that they're literally sat on the side and you're pushing in. It all depends on the ability level of your child, but that's why these are so great for StartFinish boxes, because you can start at a very simple level and then you can build it up for time and concentration with your child. So puzzles are great. There's one other one I've got down here which is probably a bit of a longer activity, but again, if your child is interested in singing and nursery rhymes, it might be a good one to put in. This is my 5 little ducks bag, so I've got a piece of cloth and 5 little ducks. So it might be you take the bag out, you put the blue cloth on, and you just take the ducks out, and all they have to do for the first bit of the activity is you put it out and you then get them to count the ducks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you put it all back in the bag, and that's it, finished. And then perhaps the next time you sing a little bit of the nursery rhyme and build it up perhaps until you're doing the whole nursery rhyme with a little bit of action or just talking about the ducks. But again, things like this are great to do as an activity because you can build up the amount of time you spend on it and the concentration level that you're expecting from the child. So there's some activity ideas of what you can actually put in your StartFinish boxes. We've said start small, and I would, dependent on the level of your child, I would look at putting perhaps 1, maybe 2 activities in there to start with. So an initial box, StartFinish box for me might actually look a little bit like, let's have a look and see what else have I got. Oh, I've got drawing as well. So it might look a little bit like this, and I might just have 2 items in it. And the first one would be the drawing. That might be the one that I'm actually really wanting the child to work on. So, oh wow, let's look at this first one. What have we got first? We take the pen and the paper out. I might just take the pen lid off, give the child the pen, get them to do 1 mark on the paper, or if I think they can concentrate for longer, get them to do a couple of marks on the paper. Then, it's finished. Finished. And we put the paper away in the bag and we put it in the finish box. We then come on to the activity that the child really likes, which is bubbles. And it's like, oh, bubbles. And we do the bubbles. And then that would be it. That would be the sum total of all the work I'd expect them to do in that concentrated period. So very, very quick to start with. And then, as I say, gradually build up the length and amount of those activities as they get used to doing the StartFinish boxes. I will do a full demonstration for you of StartFinish boxes. As I was doing it with a child, I'll get one of my teddies and I will do a demonstration video so you can actually see it in practice. So I hope that's given you some ideas of the sort of things that we would look to put in a StartFinish box.